What's up, guys? This is my arcade mode, very hard clear of Bleed 2. And, so we're going to be going through this, and I'm hopefully going to be giving you some helpful tips to any poor souls who are unfortunate enough to think that they can do this. I mean, all kidding aside, this is a great game, and I highly encourage people to play it. Going for the completion, I don't know about that. I myself went through 72 attempts spread out across 3 days, so take that into consideration. So yeah, just basically look at what I'm doing. I'm not going to be talking through the whole thing, but take note of what weapons I use on what guys, and I'll add some colorful commentary here and there. So yeah, I mean, most of this game I played with the katana and pistols. The white weapon is really helpful for this guy because it's just slices through him like butter, And yeah, for this guy, I knew his attacks well enough that I felt confident to use white, even though white means you can't deflect the bullets. But yeah, I'm always good enough that I can slow time down, switch weapons, and deflect bullets if I need to. But right here you see me landing behind him. That was pretty much the first time I'd ever done that sort of thing. And I just barely missed getting hit there. Don't know how I missed that, but... Anyway, we are on to this next wave of guys, and then Mirror Core. Let me tell you, Mirror Core on Bleed 2 is like exponentially less difficult than he is on Bleed 1. Holy Christ. You'll see what I'm talking about. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about if you ever decide to do Bleed 1. But I can't imagine anybody out there is insane enough to attempt that. Besides me and a handful of other people, I guess. Now, speaking of which, I'm actually the second person in the world to have done this on Xbox One, at least as far as I know, according to True Achievements. But who knows? Maybe there's somebody out there without a True Achievements account who has done it. I find that a little difficult to believe, but you know, whatever. So yeah, as you can see there, I'd switch back and forth between white and the katana pistols whenever I felt it necessary. The katana is definitely useful for reflecting the boss when he comes at you like that. That pretty much goes for most of the bosses. They always have some sort of attack. Most of them have some sort of attack where you can just swat at them, and it takes a good chunk of their health away. So I'd highly recommend doing that, getting skillful with switching your weapons. One thing I ought to mention is the loadout. The way I fashioned the loadout was just so that I could switch back and forth between white and the katanas very quickly. You'll probably see, I don't remember if I do it here, but yeah, it's very easy to do. You just hit left bump, and it's especially helpful if you're slowing down time. You can just kind of slide your finger over from the left trigger. Yeah, I guess I don't switch, but whatever. You can just slide your finger over the left trigger to the left bumper and still be slowing down time while you switch your weapons. This section I would recommend taking carefully and slowly, because those flying kites, they fire almost immediately, and it can be pretty easy to get overwhelmed if you go too fast. So, you know, just take your time, it's nothing too bad. And for this guy I used the chainsaw. I saw the other guy, Max1DeLife, do this, and it seemed like a pretty good tactic, so I stuck with it. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it might be on very hard story mode. But the rival actually has an attack where he fires different colored bullets at you if you do what I'm doing right now, if you go up near the front. I'm just really, really glad that that attack was left out of arcade mode. Because that would have been just, preposterous. And yeah, as far as that guy, I would recommend paying attention to the way the doors are opening and closing when he's doing his attacks, because that'll give you a pretty good idea of when he's about to slam up into the ceiling. Valentine, especially this encounter, is extremely easy with the rocket launcher, as you'll see. I don't know what this was, if this was like a glitch or this was intentional, but wow. I mean, she's not that hard without the rocket launcher, but still, it's nice to have a little relief from these brutal bosses here and there. And incidentally, there is a health pickup on the beginning of the second level if you go left right at the beginning. And there's another one here, which I don't need, but it spawns up on the, top right. And you'll see it if you need health, but if you don't, it won't spawn. This level, I had to practice this level a lot, because, I mean, as you can see, there's stuff flying at you constantly. And this sort of thing goes on throughout the entire level. You get little bits of relief here and there, but for the most part, it's just constantly watching your back, constantly, being mindful of what's around you. For this boss, I would highly recommend being very conservative with your time manipulation, and also using the katana and pistols, because reflecting the bullets back at her is just extremely helpful if you're in a pinch. And it also helps you be more conservative with the time, because you don't have to dodge around every single bullet. But yeah, to be honest, I'd be a little bit more concerned about what's around you as far as the birds, because that happened to me so many times where I wasn't watching the birds, and I ended up just flying into one of them, or one of them caught me from behind. Giggity. Small edit there because I paused it to turn up the volume, because this next boss that's coming up has an audio cue that is especially helpful if you listen for it. This next boss has two phases, and the first phase is extremely helpful to have the audio up. I'll shut up now so you can listen to it. Yeah, that required a whole lot of practice. I mean, even with the audio up, it's still kind of difficult to catch him, because sometimes he'll spawn right above you, and honestly, it's not enough to have just the visuals. Like, I'm sure some people could do it, but I found it a lot more helpful to have the audio up. You'll notice I used the laser rifle. It's because he reflects the bullets that are sent at you. I mean, I don't even know why I'm explaining this, because if you're even doing arcade mode, I guess I'm explaining it for people who have never even heard of this game, probably will never play it. But yeah, he'll reflect pretty much any and all other types of bullets you send at him, except for the laser rifle. And not just any of the laser rifle, but the fully charged laser rifle. You could shoot him with a non-charged, and he'll reflect it back at you. But fortunately, it's not like the rival, where his reflecting the bullet becomes a bullet against you, or towards you, whatever. This guy, man, you gotta be super, super aware of what's going on around you. To be honest, shooting him is like a secondary concern, because of all the missiles and the bullets and everything else that's being shot at you. if you're good enough, if you practice, you can reflect one of the missiles at him, or some of those bullets that he's shooting. But, you know, as Rin, obviously you can only reflect the pink bullets. Playing as the rival for some reason, you can reflect the yellow. But you know that already, don't you? Yeah. So yeah, I would say don't use any other weapon besides the katana or pistols for this fight, because, man, there's so many times where you can get hurt and just, like, you run out of time or something, and having the katana there to help you out of a tight spot is tremendously helpful. Now, I think you'll see here, I go back to the other side of the board here, go to the left and get the health pickup. Amazingly helpful, by the way. I don't know where I would be without those health pickups. I mean, I think I didn't use them so much throughout this playthrough, and I guess it just came from practicing it 72 fucking times. I just got good, as the kids say. But I think I only used like two of the health pickups. Didn't really need anything else beyond that, so I probably could have finished the game without them. But they definitely do make this game a lot more doable. This boss is just a total joke. If you have the rocket launcher, just don't let up. just keep on letting him have it. Be mindful of what's around you, as you'll see me attacking the floor here just to clear out some of the stuff. But yeah, this guy is one of the easiest, if not the easiest boss in this. Maybe with the exception of that one guy in the beginning that I just shot once with a rocket and he died. But yeah, just keep on him, and eventually you'll get him. Oh yeah, and watch out for those bullets that he sends out, because I forgot one time that those bullets explode into little pieces, and I got hurt by one of them. Very stupid. But yeah, as you can see, no big deal. This part, I would highly recommend watching the directions I go and following my path. Definitely use the katana and pistols, unless you feel like you can do it better with something else. Definitely don't forget about your time manipulation. That will help a lot with the on-rails aspect of this portion. You'll see me slow time down a little bit in this, but you know. This section, and I just knew it so well. I barely had to use time manipulation at all. There were a lot of times, you'll see the bosses that come up, but there were a lot of times where I had to restart because I got hit by something stupid, and you know, sometimes with these runs, it's like a domino effect. You know, you get hit once, and you get angry about getting hit that once, and then you screw up again very quickly soon after. Okay, it's really terrible. Definitely, if you do choose to use white, be mindful of that stuff that he just did, where he'll slam into the ground and then roll at you. Oh my god. The number of times I got caught by that, so frustrating. And also, practice like just memorizing how many jumps you have left, because that can screw you over fairly well too. And this boss, I think that I just kind of I tried to develop sort of a spiral pattern, or just like going in a circle, starting over in the left. Obviously I deviate from it here, but for the most part it worked out for me. This is my favorite of his attacks, or their attacks, because it's easiest to dodge. Everything else, though, these guys are total bastards. Yeah, and I tried imitating Max's tactic of sliding between the bullets when they both fire at you, when they both fly across the screen and fire at you. And man, so many times I wasted so much of my time manipulation trying to do that, so I just decided, you know what, let's just fly up and over them. Man, there were a number of times during White here that I very, very nearly got hit. I don't know how I managed to avoid it. But yeah, Rocket Launcher is tremendously helpful for him, because it'll hit him through the shields and take him out quicker. Bunny, I would say, like, if you can swing it, definitely hit that little bullet back to her. Just be cautious, because one of the bullets that she fires out will land on your head if you're not far enough below her. That's happened to me before, and it's incredibly frustrating. And I would also recommend going from left to right or right to left to just kind of confuse her aiming so that you can clear a path. Actually, I forgot to mention, on the third level, right before the missile section, definitely do that with the bullet hell section, with the enemies going up above and below you. Oh man, definitely. Go back to that section and rewatch it if you need to. You gotta shoot both up and down. Just go back and forth, up and down, and walk your character left and right, and it will confuse the enemy's aiming, and it will make that section a whole lot easier than if you just try and stay planted. This section, I would be careful because it's easy to get overwhelmed again if you go too fast. I think I get like a C on the time that wasn't going for grades, so it doesn't really matter. Missile Core, I would definitely recommend doing what I did and switching to the air dash, the different air dash with that includes an attack, because that will protect you if you suddenly find yourself having to dash through one of these missiles like that. I had to practice this guy a lot. Yeah, I had no idea how I escaped damage there. I had to practice this guy a number of times because there's always just some stupid crap that would happen. And definitely be mindful of that attack. That one caught me off guard a number of times. I tried beating this guy with the laser rifle, because the laser rifle can shoot through those missiles, but to be honest, it's easier to just have the katana and pistols available to you just in case you need to. Actually, it's very helpful when he starts doing that attack. And yeah, having that dash, very, very helpful, so you don't have to dash around him. And as always, you know, be wary of your time manipulation, because it can run out fast with this guy. Because of stuff like that. Unexpected crap that happens. No idea how I managed to beat him without getting hit, but there it is. And I think you'll see here I switched back to the normal air dash because it's quicker, and I don't really need to have an attack attached to my dash. That dash is slower than the normal, and sometimes all you really need is speed, you know, because you feel the need. Now we have Flower Core, and he's essentially just kind of a copy of the Dragonheart boss from the first Bleed, but slightly different attacks. Slightly different. This one, oh my god, that one caught me off guard so many times. Like, you gotta start preparing for that before the bullets even reach the ground, as you can see. Pretty sure that only happens on very hard mode, but wow, that can really screw you up if you're not prepared for it. And again, with the katana pistols, always be ready to reflect that side of the wall if you have the opportunity. This form of him, I would recommend Rocket Launcher, just because it's a pain in the ass trying to get that armor off of him to actually cause him damage. And meanwhile, he's throwing explosive crap all over the place. So, you know, definitely be careful of that. I love this attack because he just sits there and takes it. Giggity. And yeah, there's a number of attacks you gotta be careful of with this guy. Like, he'll dash at you, like he'll turn a different color, yellow or pink, and just gotta be careful to avoid him. Fortunately, he didn't do it on this run, but again, if you're quick, you know, you can switch back from the rocket launcher to the katana and reflect him back at the wall. Get a nice damage boost there. But I found it safer to just avoid him, to be honest. This section, you know, it's another portion where you have to be mindful of what's around you because of the room tilting as it does. This section especially, because when the room tilts to the right, you gotta make sure those bubbles aren't falling on top of you and you don't make a stupid mistake like I've done. Getting hit by a bubble. One of the easiest things to avoid, but sometimes it can happen. This section, I would recommend landing like on that platform and then just bolting. It's just easiest to do it that way. Forgot to mention also on that missile section, bolt as fast as you can. Once the missiles show up, just bolt as fast as you can at the boss, because that will save you a lot of aggravation and dealing with reflecting bullets and missiles coming at you, and yeah. So for this guy, I used white because I figured I was quick enough, I could reflect him if he did that attacks, which I did. But, or this one. But white was tremendously helpful. Probably his worst attack, in my opinion, is the Razor Blade. But you can see how fast I killed him using white. He only got off like 4 different forms or so. But yeah, definitely be mindful of, you know, even if you do reflect him when he comes at you, he will explode when he hits the wall. So just be prepared to deal with that. Because it can, again, it can catch you off guard. Yeah, see? A C for the time. And right here, there would be another health pickup spawning kind of where Valentine's standing or floating. But definitely use the katana and pistols for this. Even though it takes a little longer, it's tremendously helpful having that katana slash. I would recommend definitely keeping your finger poised over that right bumper for this section. It helps incredibly with the rain of little eyeball creatures. This section, make sure not to shoot anything, because if you don't shoot anything, they won't fire back at you. It took me a minute to realize that. Yeah, for that, just be careful of the ones coming at you from off screen if you're going the opposite direction of the first wave, because I've gotten hit by those leaping kitches before. And yeah, I switched to the like dash kick on this section because you can dash kick through that little wall of eyeball monsters, but fortunately I didn't need to on this run. But it can be incredibly helpful if the open section is too far away to make it in time, or if you run out of time manipulation. And also for that sort of thing. Yep. Yeah, and then I go back to the regular air dash because even though Max, he kept that dash kick throughout the whole thing, I felt like it was better to just have a normal air dash. She hit me there, unfortunately, but again, it's no big deal because it was my only ding on my life bar. I definitely learned from Max to dash around her and just get that section over with, because having to shoot her any place she spawns, she's so quick with that laser that it's very, very easy to lose track of her and get hit. I would just do exactly this and get her to the next attack as fast as possible, because everything else is much, much easier to dodge than that. That was some kind of BS, her spawning right where I was located, but it's no big deal. I'd be more upset if I was using white, but... And then, once you get to the 4th form, you are home free, because you can just sit here and fire rockets directly up at her, and you don't even need to let go. You can just fire at her relentlessly, as I do. I mean, you'll kill her quickly, you'll kill her faster if you let go and let the shield down, but then she'll get the shield back and you gotta do it again, and there's a slight risk of her dashing out of the way, and I just didn't want to take that risk. So, if you want to play it safe, just do this. Takes a little while, but it's worth it. Also, I gotta recommend, if you do intend on using the white weapon, I would recommend getting your taunts in early on in the stage. Like, maybe taunt every 1 or 2 enemies, and you'll get your style meter up nice and high. As you can see, when you pick up a health pickup, it takes your style meter down, but it's no big deal. I kept the dash kick for this guy because I found it easier to just dash through his blade when he does the blade gliding attack. You'll see what I do here. And see, it didn't even matter because I'm already at S again. Yeah, right here. So I would recommend just doing this because it's a lot easier than having to keep track of where he's going, and obviously it preserves your time manipulation. And now on to Whale Core. And you'll notice that I briefly switch back to the regular dash because the one time I didn't and he caught me with a second laser blast as I was going up to the top of the roof here, and I just didn't want to take that chance. So I probably didn't need the dash kick for this section, but felt it better to be safe than sorry, you know? Obviously, you know, reflect those missiles if you get a chance, but it's not totally necessary. No idea how I got under that bullet, or that one. But he does eventually catch me with one of those. And yeah, this guy, I'd recommend just sticking with the katana and pistols. It takes a little longer, but it's safer. So long as you know how to... Yeah, right there. That was a dumb move. I don't know where I was looking, but... Right here, I avoid that explosion, but you don't actually need to. Fortunately, that's one of the few explosions in this game that doesn't hurt you. This guy, I would just try and keep your distance from, with the exception of that attack, because he will do stuff like this, he'll do stuff like that, but again, keep it on the katana and pistols because it's so helpful to be able to reflect the bullets and reflect those giant missiles that he fires at you. Again, takes a little longer, but it's still worth it. And be mindful too that he can go down counterclockwise or clockwise. You gotta be prepared for both. And Crawling Core, this is one of the bosses that I switched to White for because White just carves through these blocks like nothing. There is one attack that's that you kind of have to dash through them. That's another thing. Make sure you have your dash kick available, because on very hard he will dash all the way across the screen. He will go all the way across the screen, and you'll have to dash through him. But yeah, as you can see, I narrowly escape damage here. I think it's even more narrow in this one section. Yeah, but this part, yeah, dash through. There's no way to get through that unless you're somehow able to dash on, like, between the red part and the yellow part. Oh man. Yeah, completely squandered all my time right there. Fortunately, his laser attacks are easy enough to dodge. But if he does come at you and he's pink, be sure to reflect him, switch back to the katana and pistol and reflect it back, because that can be a very helpful attack for him. Get him down faster. Oh man, the rival, I would say one of his most dangerous attacks is that bomb that he calls on from the top of the screen, because it's so quick, so quick, and you gotta be careful with that. Yeah, the rival hits me once, but still, it's no big deal. Actually, I think if I hadn't gotten those health pickups, I'd be on a pixel of health, and this battle would be a lot more tense than it is. Now, if you'll... I don't know if any of you will watch Max's video, but he killed this guy with the laser rifle. Me, I prefer the pistols, just because it's much more convenient to have the katana be able to reflect things just in case. I don't think the dash kick is totally necessary, but I would recommend doing this if you're good enough, if you practice enough, you can get a significant amount of health, and he's stunned briefly, so that's extra damage. Also be able to reflect that, which is very nice. I figure when he takes his sword out, you know, just dash around him. It's easy enough to avoid him. Giggity, by the way. Oh wow. I forgot how narrowly I escaped that one. And boom! Oh man, I can't even express to you the amount of relief, just the overwhelming joy. I remember laying on my bed, just mouth slack-jawed, just panting with joy. I was so happy that this was finally over after 72 attempts. And 3 days. I so eagerly wanted to play something different. And now I can. Anyway, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed it.